Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us. I am Allie with Deep Stop Scuba. Today we are doing part 2 of last month's episode, which was myths and superstitions in diving. So we're going to talk a little bit more about some other myths and superstitions that we dragged up from the depths. And then we have a couple people on to talk about their catastrophic banana stories. So right now we have Brando from the Great Dive podcast.
Hey, Allie.
Hi,
Hey, guys.
how are you?
Good. How's it going out there?
Pretty good. It's getting chillier than I would like, but that's okay.
It's beautiful weather. It's fall. Perfect.
It is fall. If we went from summer to fall and summer to fall and summer to fall, I'd be very happy. But all right, we've got Jamesy here. Hi.
Old Jamesy.
Hey, gang.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. Going good.
Good. We are going to have Nicole joining us in a few minutes. She was double booked, but is still planning on making it. Fingers crossed. So hopefully we'll see her in a few. But just to start off, I took a chapter out of Brando's book for this month, and I'm drinking Jefferson's Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. What do you guys have? Anything good?
I'm back on the ocean. Sorry,
back
James.
on the ocean.
I'm back on the ocean.
I'm Mexico bound. I've got some añejo tequila, cenote tequila tonight.
Cool. And then it looks like maybe we have Nicole here. Maybe. She might be joining. So we were going to start off with any additional myths or superstitions that you guys might have come up with over the past month. I know that Nicole had some up her sleeves. Did you guys run into any other things that are like common misconceptions?
Well, do we have a list of the old ones? I can't remember all the ones.
I do. Okay. So
Let's review those. Yeah.
We started off with like gear misconceptions.
That's right.
Like we breathe oxygen tanks. That's a big one. One that Nicole brought up last time and she wanted to talk about this time was what gear is considered like essential for diving. So things like snorkels, super vital in scuba diving. For some people, supposedly, while other things like DSMBs or like a cutting device might not be. So
yeah, no, that's a great little chat right there.
Yeah. So my experience was a little bit different because Deep Stop has some of their like roots in tech, so they're not shoving snorkels down anybody's throat. But what about you guys? What have you seen in your experiences?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a snorkel. I just don't think it makes sense to have one strapped on the side of your head when you're underwater.
You don't use yours underwater?
No. The one of the myths is that fact be told, they actually don't work down there. So,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Not unless you got a really long one, James.
Right. So
are you sure that you haven't just buying like faulty snorkels?
It could be. I've used it. I've used many over the years. I've used probably every wild fad snorkel that you can come across over all the years, and they really have no place on a scuba diver underwater, especially someplace like Cozumel where that current's flowing and that thing's just beating somebody silly upside the head. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot of drag.
Yeah, a lot of drag.
Snorkels are a drag, man.
Especially when you go back to like the 90s and those like giant US divers, impulses were all the rage, and the early era dry snorkels were all. I mean, those things were gigantic snorkels, like big.
You know what they say about big snorkels?
You need a big snorkel keeper.
Exactly. Making up for something. But what's the latest rage in snorkels since you brought it up?
Well, you know, I'm a fan of just a simple roll up snorkel. I think
Well, I know you are, but what is selling in the shops?
I think dry snorkels are still the
Well, yeah.
for most divers getting into it, going into a program, you know, a dry snorkel. But I mean, I like just a very basic, simple J snorkel that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, here I got a little rescue class coming up. You know, they make for a great emergency little pocket mask too. If you really got stuck in a pinch out there, you know, a Purge's simple
Mm-hmm.
snorkel, nothing to fail, nothing to go wrong, something that you can break down and keep in a pocket. You know, so I mean, if you are out in big, giant, blue, open water, a long way from you know, a boat or shore, and something goes wrong, yeah, it'd be nice to be able to pull that out in an emergency. But to swim around underwater with it, you know, 99% of the time when you're wearing it, it's got absolutely zero purpose. And usually it's a point of confusion for most new divers, confusing it with the BCD inflator.
True.
Yeah. What would you guys think would be like a good, not an alternative to a snorkel, but if you were going to say this is one piece of gear that you guys should probably have?
Scuba.
Scuba. That would be good.
It's a good alternative to snorkeling, and you should probably have it. What do you think, James?
Well, you know, the SMBs are definitely one that you mentioned. You know that
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to make their way to become a normal piece of equipment nowadays. You know, I mean, a lot of them get away with it using just the simple surface signaling. You know, just little safety sausages we used to call them back in the day. But at least that's, you know, a useful thing. You know, that you should have, especially a lot of the places that new divers are going to, with so many dive boats and so much of a diving population going with boats all over the place. Having a surface signaling device definitely, I think, is way more of a valid tool than a snorkel on your head when you're underwater.
Absolutely.
I would agree.
And they're being, you know, like you say, they're being introduced in open water courses now. So, which was not the case, you know, 10 years ago.
Definitely. So she had another good one that I wanted to talk about. And also, as an update, she can't get her headphones to connect, but she's here in spirit and in the chat as well.
Okay. Well, it is getting close to Halloween month, so being here in spirit works out well.
You're right. That's perfect.
Ghost of Nicole.
The other one that she had was, quote unquote, you don't need a dive computer as long as your dive master has one.
Well,
How do you guys feel?
I disagree. How's that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot right there. I mean, that's a trust me dive, in which, if you've listened to our show, we talk about trust me dives quite a bit, actually. So,
And I have listened to it now, so.
yes.
No. Oh, to clarify,
You
she
added to
doesn't
the
think
number.
that just as a superstition or like a myth or like a misconception. Just to clarify that one. That was just one that she had listed as a point of discussion.
Wait.
Sorry.
We can say Nicole's saying all kinds of stuff since she can't defend herself. This is great.
The comments can be censored.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important that everybody know exactly where they are depth wise and how long they've been underwater. You know, it's a very important tool. mean, I know the issue I think a lot of new divers face is, they get in that groove right off the get-go with a lot of way open water certifications are. They're not really tracking it themselves. The instructors are doing it for them. The dive staff is doing it for them. They come up and the staff says, okay, your dive one was to 28 feet for 31 minutes. Put that in your logbook. So they're not really doing it themselves a lot of times.
It's a bad habit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Turn the brain off.
I think it's very
Rely on someone else.
Do you guys see that a lot, or not so much anymore, or?
Not with our people.
Yeah.
But I mean, James might at the shop. Do you see that at all?
It's I would say that it's hopefully, I'm hoping it's not as prevalent as it was years ago. I just know from back in the day, that's how a lot of the programs were run. So
Yeah, and we're an SDI shop, so we require computers for all of our classes and everything like that. And even when like old timer divers come in and they're like, I've never used a computer, I just need to rent some gear. Please take the computer anyways. Please just take it. You don't have to pay for it. Just take it. Make me feel better.
well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of advantages to the computer. I mean, having a very nice digital, very accurate representation of your depth rather than just trying to use an old analog depth gauge, which was very simplified, a lot of estimation going on. So there's benefits to it. It's going to keep much better track for you, most definitely.
Don't you feel like you're missing something if you don't? I mean, at least I do. You feel like partly naked kind of thing. You're missing a huge.
Well, you're missing your gauge, Brando.
Oh, I'm missing my gauge. God,
you are missing something. Your gauge.
Well, I mean, you're missing something vital. It's not like you left your SMB, which you might not need on the dive, but you need a gauge and a timer.
Yeah, I've actually never dove without a computer.
Try it. It feels weird.
I don't want to. The thought of it makes me like
queasy.
Yeah. So Kyle commented here. He said, during my open water certification, I let my instructor know my rental computer battery died. They told me not to worry about it.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
the instructor.
Well, did he say it underwater, or like, where did he say it?
Underwater.
Well, not underwater, but like pre-dive, or was it?
It sounds like Kyle saying that he's letting him know on the surface, like, "Hey, this dive, my computer's dead."
Yeah,
that's true.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Would you stop the class and go change the computer battery?
Yeah.
Battery.
I would.
Would you? Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good.
Actually, I wouldn't.
I'd probably say,
hey,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Dive master, get to work. Bring me coffee. Bring me coffee while you're at it.
There you go.
Oh, here we go. Wait. We have an answer. Pre-dive, 20 minutes before the gun.
So plenty of time. Yeah. Yeah. Good point, Kyle.
Yeah, that would make me nervous.
Yeah, I think it'd be a bad behavior or a bad habit you'd want to instill on a new student, and they kind of look to what you're doing. And if you say you don't need, we don't need it.
Right.
Dive master so-and-so said.
I've been at the training location many, many a times over the last 30 years and have seen students pop to the surface, lost in a haze of silt up bottom and lost visibility and separated from groups and took a left when the instructor took a right, kind of a thing. And students get separated on those dives. So
yes, they do.
Leaving somebody in the water with no way to reference where they're at is just, that's a liability nightmare hanging over your head that I would want to be way far away from.
Yeah, I would say besides the just the bad habit, instilling a bad habit, the liability has got to be, right there. That's almost negligent. right? It's in the standards. So
Yeah.
Right.
And that actually, something similar happened to Nicole. She said, me and my partner wanted to rent computers on an impromptu dive, and the dive center didn't have them. Then the dive instructor abandoned us on the Trust Me dive.
trust me, I'm going to abandon you. That's
Goodbye.
the rest of the sentence of the trust me.
Trust me, I'll be right here.
Trust me, I'm going to leave you when you least expect it.
Trust me, I'll be right here the whole time. You have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I think that stems a lot there, from the early days of thinking that two people like a buddy team could share a computer. Which I think the industry's done a really good job at letting people know. Have you seen yourselves in the water? You're not that close together. It's probably not a good idea that you share a computer.
I've never known anybody or any organization or shop to openly advocate doing that, but I have seen it done. So
I've seen it done in the field. I've never seen any shop advocate it.
Right.
I should clarify that. Yeah. You are right. Like back in the olden days, you would have groups, husband and wives, coming in that, oh no, he's fine with, the kids are fine with gauges. I've got the computer. They'll be with me. Thanks, Dad.
Damn kids.
Yeah. I've heard of people having like a family dive computer. Just like
Right. It's always like, dad's buying, so he's looking at all the top end gear. And after he picks out all of his sweet scuba gear and it's time for the kids, it's like, what's the cheapest?
We don't need one of those. They can use mine. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good one. Did we, this is one I'm not sure if we talked about last time, and it's pretty much debunked now, but when nitrox came out and everyone thought that it was like this demon gas.
Demon gas. It may not have been the devil's gas. I think Trimix is the devil's gas.
Understood.
But it's definitely in the demon realm.
Yeah.
Nitrox. It's definitely in the underworld of sport diving mythology. Yeah.
There's many Catholic priests exercising out these nitrox divers. But it was really looked down upon by the major components or the major players in the scuba industry.
Yeah, back in the early 90s when I first got introduced and certified for nitrox, it was there was a local guy that had spent a lot of time down in Florida and was doing some cave diving down there in the early 90s, and he came back really talking highly about nitrox. And you had to go outside of agency in order to even get a class. There was IANTD was the big one, on the
IAND at the time, yeah.
At the time, IAND, yeah. And then Andy was a popular agency out on the west coast of the States. But like the majors didn't want to touch it. And in fact, like you were threatened to lose your membership status if you were caught diving nitrox.
That was in the magazines back in the day, but you had to go to like the realm of the underworld, which was Florida, to learn about nitrox.
It kind of still is the realm of the underworld.
It is.
Some situations.
And that's where the demon gas is. That's why we would make frequent trips.
But yeah, if you history buffs out there, if you come across any old skin diver magazines, stumble through the year 1993, you will see the industry-wide hatred of that gas, until about two years later when it was openly embraced and became the quickest, largest running specialty class that has ever existed.
That was a quick turnaround. So those dollar signs must have been really big. It's like a cross.
I was going to ask, is there a reason why that pivoted, or was that just like a more of a gradual thing, or was it like?
No, it was like overnight almost.
I would say it has a lot to do with how fast these other agencies started growing with certification numbers, primarily based around teaching nitrox, and these big agencies saw market share dropping, and they had the choice of either, dude, if we don't do this right now, like they're never going to come back. I mean, it's a lot of what you see with the big manufacturers out there resenting backplates and wings and what would be seen as technical or cave diving equipment for so many years. You had to go outside of the big brands to get it. You had to go to little mom and pop, little niche little companies, based out of that kind of community that was along the northeast coast and down in Florida. But again, it only took so many years of people going other places, and then those companies getting bigger and starting to delve into more product SKU numbers that were cutting into the big guys, that they said, whoa. And now you look at every major scuba manufacturer, they all have a huge technical line to compete because they knew they had to. They didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
They've done that with every. I shouldn't just say technical, but they've done it with Trimix. They did it with, of course, the backplate and wing kind of configuration. They did it with the nitrox. They didn't really do it with breathers, though. They were embracing those pretty early. No?
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think there's more money to be made on a breather. I mean, $5 to $10 grand. It's a lot better than a $60 snorkel.
That's fair.
But I don't know the reasoning behind it, but I do remember it was the exception to that rule, really, when they started, doing recreational rebreathers on Patty's monthly magazine.
Yeah. It's I believe a lot of it stems from at the end of the day, I mean, scuba is still a pretty young sport. It's still a pretty young activity, in the scheme of things. Less than 100 years old. I think the equipment associated with it required a training program, and the training program, started off really well, at the beginning, but that's just because they needed something implemented. And as things started changing along the ways, nothing was ever really fully re-examined for restructuring the program. Everything was just kept getting added to and added to and added to and added to. Mm-hmm. I think the way a program is taught in 2050, I think is going to be much different than it was being taught in 2000 myself.
That seems pretty accurate. And I'm curious, just going back to the nitrox, when it came out, were you guys pro nitrox, or were you a little bit nervous?
I was already breathing nitrox.
Yeah.
I was breathing nitrox before scuba got it. And so I was like, well, yeah, we should be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brando did it in commercial, right? Yeah. So I was excited about it because, the old instructor at my old shop, the old veteran instructor, hated it.
You're a typical punk rock rebel teenager, James.
Exactly right. Oh, you don't like it? I'm interested now. Hell yeah. What's this nitrox thing going on?
And James will hold on to this attitude till the day he dies. He'll be 90, like a 14-year-old punk rock rebellious teenager. Only because he hasn't had kids and seen what that really looks like from the outside.
Because then I don't want to be on the list. I'm always going to have my anarchy flag fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was, really flew the industry flag, really, sang the Skin Diver song. And, to the point where, he would have like beet red faced yelling arguments in the middle of the store with anybody that even said the N-word back when that was the N-word.
The N word in diving is something different than the N word in the rest of the world. Yeah.
Exactly. But it was interesting times back then.
Definitely. I can't imagine someone getting so heated over it.
Oh yeah, and it was a bunch of just myths.
Crazy.
You're gonna die breathing it, and you can't inflate your BCD with it, and like it's just silly crazies. Like the most.
Well, there was a lot of those subjects, though, James, wasn't there?
Yeah,
you had nitrox, but if you look at what was that magazine that had a picture of George with the fangs and everything?
That wasn't that Dive Tech?
I think so, but
Tech magazine.
Yeah, George Irvine was at the center of a lot of that kind of heated discussion about cave diving or tech diving or DIR versus the world kind of thing. Yeah, it was crazy. Everybody kind of like the way people are with politics now. It's how they were with diving back then. As far as you bring up one of these topics, these hot topics, that there's a lot of polarity, a lot of space in between. And it got crazy. Fist fights, bombs, arson, kidnappings. Nuts. Thankfully, we're over that, right, James?
Oh yeah, it's a totally different world now. Everybody's
myth now.
Everybody's happy and gets along now. There's no argument about it.
Don't we?
So, do you guys have any other like myths that you had wanted to talk about that you didn't get to last month or anything like that?
I think for me, you hit on all the topics.
Hey, Brando.
Yeah.
Look what I just happened to have.
Uh-oh. Oh, you have it. Dude.
The exact one you were talking about.
I was gonna say, that's not mine, that's yours, right? Yeah, that dude, you had it right out in front of you. This is synchronicity kind of thing.
I may or may not have been doing some
research
prep for a future
oh yeah
series, but I've got one for you, Allie. There was one old sailing myth that we never got to about women being bad luck on boats.
You got to that one because you said that's why you have not invited me diving yet.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
There was unless you're topless, because the sailors topless women were
sailors. It's a rule.
Why? But topless women were okay. That's why they had the carved busty figurines on for the figureheads.
Yeah,
that was good luck. But women, bad luck.
Bad news.
I was gonna ask if there was like legitimate reasoning or history behind that, and then you added the second part, and that was
I think it's
case closed.
Based around the historical perspective of sexism. I think mostly.
Exactly. You're walking a thin line, James.
I'm not condoning it. I'm just speaking the history.
Do you know anyone who holds to that myth still?
I don't. Now redheads, maybe. That was another bad luck one for a
That's a real thing, probably.
Even still, probably out there on those New York boats, they still don't let those.
Really? Ouch! Weren't we just talking about redheads, gingers?
Redheads and ladies were
on today's topic on the when we recorded,
and the banana thing,
and bananas
and flowers were bad luck on a boat too.
Yeah.
So were shoes and hats. Boats are just bad luck.
You ever see a pirate with a pair of Nikes on?
Or flowers in his hands?
He's barefoot, Allie.
He wears boots. But yeah, so the bananas. Part of what inspired the part 2 of this so soon is an outpouring of tragic banana stories on boats after we recorded last month's episode. So do you guys have any firsthand experiences about, maybe not even just bananas, but any myths or superstitions that may have been true for you guys? Like, did you guys bring a bouquet of flowers on a boat and your boat sank, or you couldn't catch fish, or?
No, I've never had any weird superstitions pop
How
up that came to fruition for me. But I've been kind of like a bad luck advocate, my whole life. So I've never really had
That's
that.
true.
I've
He's got a big 13 on his wing. He's got that's no joke. What else do you have? You've got other bad luck crap.
13's always been a lucky number for me, a good number. I've never associated it with bad luck.
I almost died on Friday the 13th once, so.
That was my favorite horror franchise growing up as a kid.
So, in other words, James says that's a great day to die, Allie.
Incidentally, is they say that it's bad luck for a ship to go to sea on a Friday for that very reason. Fridays
maybe that's what it was.
Fridays are bad luck to set sail if you're into that, believing that Christianized superstition stuff.
Yeah. So maybe it was a combination of the bad luck Friday and the overall Friday the 13th. We'll never know.
Was this a diving incident, Allie?
Yeah, can you elaborate on this? Your death experience?
Can you share it? No, not no.
13 bananas?
No bananas this time.
If you bring 13 bananas, they kind of cross each other out. Don't they?
Exactly.
It's like double negative. So you got 13, you got bananas, but 13 bananas.
I don't think either 13's bad.
I think if they form a 4-leaf clover, and it's all good.
So last episode I told you guys that I had 4 charters coming up, and I was gonna bring bananas on 2 of them and not the other 2, and not tell anyone and see what happened. And first of all, after I tried this, everyone was like, that was a terrible idea. And I'm like, you guys watched this show and you never said anything. Like, you never objected. Like, where were you guys? But yeah, once I tried it, they were like, why would you do that? Like,
so out of the 4, so the first charter, you took the bananas, you didn't take the bananas.
So I had the bananas in my car. We're driving up to the boat. And the bananas never made it to the boat. So
the car make it to the boat?
The car made it to the boat just really late. So I ended up late for the first charter. So that was like strike 1. And it wasn't even just like my normal late, because people who know me know that I'm late.
It's called diving late. Diving.
I had planned for this charter, and I was like, it's gonna leave at 8:45 for sure. That's the time that this boat leaves, which is false.
Wait. Did you mean 8:45 a.m.?
A.m.
There's 2 8:45s in a day? What?
Well, it's hard to believe. I was ready for that 8:45 a.m. charter, but the boat left at 8. So I was on time for when I thought the boat was leaving, but I was late for the real boat that actually leaves at 8. So that was like the strike 1. So the banana didn't even make it on that boat. Boat 2, I made it to the boat, and I was like, screw this banana. I don't want it anywhere near me, partially because I'm teaching a class. So I was like, leaving the banana. But I think it was just the intent to bring the banana that destroyed also the next day's charters, because one got blown out. I was supposed to go camping that night. That got canceled. And I even went to get ice cream, and they had none of my ice cream flavors, so I ended up getting a banana-flavored ice cream, and that ice cream attacked. And I got banana ice cream like all over my shirt, and it stained my new shirt. So the bananas just had it out for me that weekend, and I'm convinced. So the bananas never even made it on the boat, and the universe hated me for even considering it.
I think you willed this upon yourself.
See, so
You have a
everyone
point.
after, they were like, well, why did you do that? And I'm like, you knew I was going to try it.
No,
But
listen,
I think you're right.
a banana's just a banana.
It was
James.
self-inflicted.
Listen, Mr. 13.
Oh, it's
We have
how
13 on everything.
it's all that stuff that your life and your family and your community has been pumping into your brain. How you interpret bananas is what made all that manifest. Banana's just a banana.
Are you sure?
Or is it? Or is
Yeah.
it?
Now I get it if you say you open the banana, you drop the
Freud
peel,
would say something different.
and fell getting on the boat. I get it.
Speaking of getting on the boat, one of you is afraid of carrying your doubles to the boat.
Oh,
Brando?
well, it's not afraid, but I have the recurring, I don't want to call it fantasy, but the vision of, it's not, the recurring vision of just slipping on a banana peel on the dock going onto the boat, gear on my back. I go in upside down, up to the bottom, no gas, and then I'm struggling to get out of the thing.
It's a nightmare. It's a reoccurring nightmare that you have.
It's a vision, not necessarily a nightmare. You don't know how things are going in my life. Maybe.
In some ways, it seems like a nice way out.
I'm kidding, of course.
No, but I do know what you mean, because I had a guy, a couple of years ago that came in, was signed up on a charter. He was new to a set of doubles. He went out. I met him at the boat because we were on the afternoon charter, and as he was getting off, he stepped on the wood of that dock and just, I thought he snapped a femur in half. I mean, it was gruesome sight. And he, got up.
Did he snap it?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
But I mean, I thought he snapped
It
a
is gruesome.
femur or dislocated it out of a hip. I mean, it was gruesome.
Ouch.
So I every time I'm walking, especially like that, those narrow docks, that vision does pop into my head a lot as well. So I do know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, now it pops in my head too. Ever since I heard you say that, that's all I can think about when I'm walking to the boat is like, just gonna eat shit right here.
Well, I'll tell you.
Make sure you have your gas turned on. That's all.
I'll tell you the other one you got to do. Probably 20 some years ago, I was up in Alpena, and I had a set of flip flops on. This is why I only buy really expensive, really nice high end flip flops nowadays. Because I had one of those like just cheapy little thongy ones that the centerpiece like popped out of it, and my foot went sliding forward along that wet morning dew on the dock. Did the splits on the
I've done the splits with twins on, and you don't want to do the splits with twins.
There's no looking cool. I don't care
nobody who looks cool doing that.
No looking cool after that one.
Definitely not. I didn't wipe out this past weekend, but I thought I was going to. I took a side mount class, and
Nice.
I'm trying to get up a ramp, and that first step, you're stepping like up onto really slippery rocks and then up onto the ramp. And I'm, first of all, really weak apparently, and I'm like using my arms to like haul myself up, and I was like, this is not. And I almost wiped out.
Did you have bananas in the car?
Rocks. What was that?
Did you have bananas in the car?
No, never again.
13 of them.
Literally never. Oh, I did see something on some forum. People were asking how seriously people take the banana myth, and is it good etiquette to ask for permission to bring their bananas on the boat?
I think that would be good etiquette.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Because, a lot of people struggle with cramps in scuba diving because they're working muscles that their body's not used to working, and they're fighting against a much denser medium to move through. Also, they're working in ways that they're not used to, so it's not uncommon for people to cramp up. So bananas are good for that. So having a couple of bananas, with you in the morning. I always, like having a couple of bananas when I'm teaching at the quarry. I mean, I've got, there's a couple of things that are definitely in proximity when I've got a day of teaching: bananas, beef jerky, Twizzlers, and
Twizzlers.
a lot of water. That's all. If I've got that, I can teach for 8-10
3
hours.
hours.
Is that your secret formula for good teaching?
That's it. That's all you need.
Emergency teaching pack. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have an emergency? What did you say? Emergency teaching pack?
Yeah.
Do you have one? Do you have a
He just
specific?
listed it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have the
Bananas.
same. Okay.
It's the Great Dive Podcast official snack of teaching.
Have Twizzlers sponsor you.
Does it include the lawnmower 4.0?
Get out of it.
Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, I think maybe good etiquette to ask. I told the captain my idea about the bananas, and he got a little mad. He was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I also,
Oh,
again,
yeah.
I was like, "You watched the show. Like, I know you did. You knew I was going to do it." But he was
I
like,
don't think
"No,
I
it's
don't think
okay."
sea captains take it very lightly.
Oh no.
Any mythology, any of this old sea mythology.
I mean, it's one thing if you're running a dive boat. I don't think it's.
If you're just going out for a 3-hour tour, it's
But
another thing.
if you're like, well, those 3-hour tours can be pretty bad.
They can be brutal.
Yeah, but if you're like out in blue water at sea for days, I think it's taken way more seriously. But I remember hearing a story, I forget where it was, about a woman showing up to a dive boat, I think in like the Philippines or Bali or something like that, and she had a little flower in her hair, and the boat crew freaking out, like not letting her on the boat until she got rid of the flower because they were really serious about the flower thing.
Were they not worried that she was a lady?
See, now it might have been topless. I don't know. TLDR, Allie. I didn't get to the end.
I read a story about this one. It was a fishing boat, so it's a little different. But this one guy brought a banana on the boat, and I guess one of the captain or one of the crew members got like pissed, ripped it out of his hand, chucked it in the water, was like red in the face, yelling at him. I guess just like people over nitrox. So I thought that was interesting. Apparently, they hadn't caught any fish that day, though, and as soon as all the bananas were off the boat, they started to catch tuna. So
that proves it. Maybe those fish liked the bananas, and when he tossed it overboard, they came a running.
Yeah.
Or a swimming.
That's so funny. So have you guys ever run into like captains that were superstitious at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of them are to some degree, aren't they?
I think there's a fine line for dive boat captains that borders on the line of superstition and profitability. That
true.
Depending on how the month is going,
I think there's corollaries to every superstition that say unless they have enough money, unless they have more money, unless they're willing to pay for it, stuff like that.
I think that stands for a lot of scenarios.
I think that's why there's a lot of shipwrecks out in the Great Lakes. Those dangerous end of the season, tours that probably shouldn't go, that they probably knew better, but profits and big money, got involved, and the owners said go anyway. And sure, I bet you there were some superstitions along the way of guys getting spooked and freaked out along the way, and maybe that led to some mistakes out on the sea because they had it in their head.
Yeah,
sure. That sounds like superstition right there, James. You're just making stuff up.
James is blaming the poor bastard, working the boat for sinking his own ship. That's not what I meant.
These are not dive superstitions or anything specific. How about Nessie? How do you guys feel about Nessie?
Nessie.
Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, Nessie.
She's my friend Nessie.
Well, I'm a believer. I'm a believer in Nessie.
You are.
Yes.
Do you believe in Sasquatch or Bigfoot or Yeti or whoever he is now?
I'd rather believe in Nessie.
Yeah,
True.
Nessie.
I'm on Allie's side on this.
Now, out by you, Allie, isn't there like a Nessie of Lake Champlain out there?
Oh yeah.
Is there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's what do they call her? Like
Otto.
no, it's like
Iggy.
Bessie or Chessie, like that.
Yeah.
Who?
But there's one out there.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
we
American
did
folklore.
talk about them.
Champ or Champy is the name of a lake monster said to live in Lake Champlain, a long body of fresh water shared by New York, Vermont, and Quebec. Subgrouping lake monster / sea serpent.
We did a little spiel on old Champy, James.
Did
Didn't
you?
we?
Yeah, we did. I'm trying to remember where I put that damn book.
You mean it's not on your desk next to the George Irvine article?
No, that's
Conveniently.
totally different category.
Huh.
No, there's a bunch of them.
I'm gonna have to add that to the list. Places to check
Old
out.
Champy, yeah.
Champy.
There's a couple. What is the Frog of Lakeland's another one?
The Loveland frog.
Loveland. The Frog of Loveland.
Man frog humanoid.
That's it. That sounds like something from Scooby Doo.
And he eats bananas.
No, totally real. Been documented by the police. And everything.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Totally real.
And then going possibly farther back, like mermaids and sirens. Again, not a dive
They're
thing.
still around now, mermaids and sirens.
What
I
was
think
that?
it's even more so. The myths of mermaids, the
You
stories.
think so?
Yeah. I think they still are. They're around quite a bit now.
Do you believe in them?
I don't believe in very much, so I'm a bad guy to ask.
I would say that if you were, a man working a boat,
A mermaid's a great idea.
in the 1800s, you got 10 other dudes you've been at sea with for weeks and weeks on end, and the hot heat of the sun, nothing but horizon all around you,
Non-manscaped at all.
unmanscaped,
Extra
just, thirsty for some grog. You'd be surprised what might come into your mind when you see something splash and swim around on the surface. So it's your brain. I see manifesting a lot of creatures and
James, is this that mail-in / internet Psych 101 class you've been taking? Where are we getting all this?
It was,
used to be superstitious.
it was 2 for 1 on Udemy last week.
And I guess Champ is more well known than I thought.
See, thanks, Rick. Thanks for
There
backing
we
me
go.
up.
Rick Rutkowski,
Yeah.
not to be confused with Dick Rutkowski,
No,
who started up the nitrox craze.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go check out Lake Champlain and see if I can find Champ.
yes. We'll have to do. We should do a Halloween dive out there.
Yeah.
James, how long have we known each other? Long time. And every year we do this. Let's do this Halloween dive. And it never happens. Or we've tried. We went to Hell, Michigan. Tell that story, James.
We did go to Hell, Michigan.
Yes.
And we
went
did
to Hell.
Devil's Lake. Neither experience was fun.
Oh,
It does have a couple of nice pubs for after the dive, though.
it does.
So what did the dive happen, or?
Yes.
We scootered for an hour and a half and never got below 4 feet of water.
And visibility of less than a foot, really. It was not pretty.
Oh, that's
It was
spooky.
hell. It was
Can't
truly
tell
hell.
what's in front of you.
Hell.
That's nice. No, people around here do like pumpkin carving dives.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Other
common.
than the quarries.
Yeah, but I haven't done that yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've done it. It's not my cup of tea, but I think any red-blooded American scuba diver, but particularly from the Midwest, it's kind of like a rite of passage. You got to go underwater on a damn pumpkin at least once.
I typically just stay home and like dress up my dog, and she hates me for it. So.
Very nice. Very nice.
How do you know she hates you for it? Is it just her face?
It's the
Right.
look on her face, and she. I don't know if you guys can hear her right now. She's been whining for a solid.
See, I thought you had ghost music on because
Yeah.
we're coming on. We're doing all these myths and superstitions. And I thought you had ghost music on in the background.
Are you guys doing a Halloween episode?
We will be doing a Halloween episode. I was just researching some cool ideas just the last couple of days.
Very nice. Cool.
So stay tuned. That will be coming.
Yeah.
That will be probably releasing that Friday before Halloween, so the 28th.
Beautiful.
Of our Halloween episode.
Our 5th annual spooktacular, as James likes to call it.
Halloween spooktacular.
Waiting to hear it. That's all.
Good.
There's one that you will now that you're starting to listen to the show, Allie, you'll really like from our Halloween spooktaculars, dating back. I forget what year it was, where we did a ghost story on a Great Lakes shipwreck, the Erie Board of Trade. There's a great ghost story that goes along with that.
Ooh.
I think it's 2020.
Yeah,
We did
I
that.
think
Yeah,
you're
2
right.
years back.
Interesting. Do you guys have you ever dove in wrecks that might have like some spirits around that you might, or some people might think?
Yeah, well, the Cornelia B. Windy 8 in Presque Isle, Michigan, is rumored to be a real ghost ship that they say that they still see sailing the seas of Lake Huron to this day. It went down with All Souls back in 1875, I believe it was.
That's cool. Do you see anything suspicious?
One time.
Bananas.
Hang on, let me try.
A seabed of bananas.
I gotta turn the lights down for a minute. Hang on.
Get the fog machine going, James.
First time I did see this weird, strange, mysterious. It was like an orb. The water's dark because it's 180 feet deep. It's dark, and it's this beautiful old, timeless-looking sailing ship in Lake Huron. It's cold water. Time is of the essence while you're down there because it's deep water. Gas goes fast, and this flowing object was circling around me, and I realized it was Brando.
Because I just flow.
Wow. That gave me chills. It did.
I'm a storyteller.
Just wait till this Halloween episode, Allie, because it's going to be
Can't
good.
wait. I will definitely be tuning in.
Good.
But I think it's about time to wrap up. Thank you guys for joining us again. We don't normally do back-to-back same guests, but it was great to have you. And
Kind of a big deal, Allie.
It was a lot of fun.
It makes sense to me. No, thank you for having us again for part 2. It's
Of
been a lot of
course.
fun.
Absolutely.
Especially
Do
these
you-
fun old stories.
Do you want to sign logbooks? Now that I know I'm supposed to sign the logbook
Oh,
back.
well, yes. Would
I
you?
didn't know that last time.
I would like a return sign this time
Okay.
because I didn't get mine signed last time.
Okay. I'll sign both of yours like at the same time. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
You got
Yeah,
carbon
Is
paper?
it okay to have a joint logbook?
Yeah.
If you have like a joint
Digital.
computer, can you have a joint
Yeah,
logbook?
we got a joint logbook here. Here you go.
Okay. Dear Jamesy and Brando, thank you so much for joining us on A Dram of Diving for 2 months in a row. I wish you many dives without bananas or cramps, and an extra spooktacular Halloween.
Thank you very
That
much.
was really nice, Allie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And thank you for having us. You're always welcome on a dive boat with us, whether you have bananas, whether you have a top on, or
That's
even
for sure.
dye your hair red.
Touching. Thank you.
Welcome on our dive boat. All aside, you have flowers in your hair. We are not judgmental in any way. You're always welcome with us.
You're
Thank
always
you.
welcome with your bananas on our boat.
Gonna come double fisting bushels of bananas.
There you go. Deal.
I like it.
All right. I'm gonna throw you guys in the waiting room. I will be right in while I say goodbye to our viewers.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our part 2 of bananas ruining dives, among other things. Tune in next month. It should be the last Wednesday in October. So I hope to see you then. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can like and subscribe. I think the buttons are like right around here. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night.